you being used today is this,
कब से
मुझे लग रहा है
स्टार्ट
मैम ने ईयरफोन नहीं
this,
लगाया था।
कब से स्टार्ट
हेलो
हुई है
मैम,
and
प्रॉब्लम?
this. So we are actually not
अब तो
अभी
आती
क्लास
पता
reading
में
नहीं
है।
that.
मेरी।
मैं तो अभी
Okay,
आया हूँ क्लास में।
so
जस्ट अभी
मैम।
हेलो
मैम
हेलो।
हेलो मैम।
okay,
आई थिंक
sorry, I was not seeing the chat, so maybe that's okay. You can ask the question in the chat box.
हेलो
There was
हेलो।
a question.
अच्छा अरे आवाज नहीं जा रही मैम।
Tanya or
हेलो
हेलो मैम।
Anshika had a question.
आवाज़ नहीं आ
हेलो
मतलब हमारी आवाज़ आपको नहीं आ रही मैम? हेलो।
Yes, Anshika, please type in
हेलो
your
हेलो
question.
हेलो।
I will start after this. Please write the question. I will not unmute you. There are so many raised hands. Okay. Lalit has a raised hand. Ashwin has a raised hand. I will come back to you. That's okay. T is training set or test set. You wanted to ask about test set or training set, Anshika? Please type in the chat. I will not unmute you or any one of you because क्लास में बहुत नॉनसेंस है. Okay, training and test set. Okay, Tanya. Oh, I am muted. Now can you speak? Anyone?
मैम वो टी एक्सप्लेन कर दो दोबारा।
Okay, okay. So, okay, just a second. Let me draw this again. Okay, let's talk about your class records. There is class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Now let's say that you have I'm not taking any other attributes, I'm only using the attributes that we need. So let's say marks in data mining, marks in graphics, marks in data science, and I think I don't know what other paper you have. AI. Okay, let's assume this. Okay, so now this is marks out of 100 including theory and practical. So let's say in data mining somebody has scored 80 and 75, 82, 81, 90, and let's say 80, 85, 86. Okay, so now you will have various records for all these 10 roll numbers. Now I want to so there are various records. Anshika, or I think Tanya is asking, or Anshika, anyway, whoever is asking. So let me say that in my training set, I will keep records 1, I will keep record 2, I will keep record 5, and I will keep record 6, I will keep record 9, I will keep record 4. Okay, let's assume. And in my test set, I will keep record 3, 7, and 8. So basically, I have split this into some 70% of training and 30% of this. So the idea is that train your classifier using these records. So based on, okay, if this person is qualified as an average and this is above average, so maybe that is their prediction variable. Okay, so maybe this is below average and average, above average, so on and so forth. So there will be various ways you are qualifying it. So what is happening when you are building a classifier, you are saying that if the combination of marks is above 80 or above 85, then you are getting the result as above average. But if somebody has scored, below 80, then maybe he is an average student. So there is some combination with which you are combining, and using these records, you are, continuously telling your classifier that if marks are this, then the classification is average or above average, so on and so forth. Now now this could be generally when we sample data, sometimes what we do is, okay, let 1 to 7 records be in training set, and let 8, 9, 10 be in test set. Sometimes this is done this way, and sometimes the sampling is completely random. Like if you see over here, this is completely random. I picked some random 7 records from here and 3 random records in this. So training and test set, generally the combination is, if you have lots and lots of millions of records, if we are talking about, then we will have 50-50 distribution for training and test set. If we have lesser number of records, then it happens to be 60 and 40, and then sometimes it's 70 and 30 also. So it totally depends on the amount of training data you have. Is this clear, or is there anything else that you wanted to answer? Anything else that you wanted to ask, Anshika? Great. It's such a bliss that I could not hear any one of you. मेरे को इतना अच्छा लग रहा है कि मैं सुन नहीं पा रही, तो मुझे पता ही नहीं है कि कोई disturbance है class में. Great. Anything? Okay, Lalit has his hand raised. So Lalit, you have a question? Lalit? Assuming no. Anyone else who wants to? Okay, there's something in the chat box again. Okay, you got it. Great. So, okay, so there is one more way we can split data. Sometimes this data is split between training set, validation set, and test set also. So it could be 60 records here, and 20 records here, and 10 records here. Can anyone tell me what could be a validation set? Instead of splitting the data in two sets, training and test, most of the times a good practice is to split the data in three sets: training, validation, and test. So can anyone tell me uh, what could be the reason for using a validation set? Anyone? Any thoughts? No, Sachin, not clean data. See, what I am telling you right now is, I am assuming that this data that I have begun to train my classifier on is already pre-processed. It is already clean. Now, when you are building a classifier, you are using a training set to train the classifier. You are using the test set to test it. But sometimes people also use a validation set only from the given records you have. So probably they will say that, okay, let 5 of these records be training, let 2 of or 3 of them go to validation, and let 2 of them go to test. So what is the significance of having a validation set? What could be its use? Why to split data into three sets, and what is a validation set? Okay, no, Bhumi, no. Prakritik, I would like you to Yes, Sachin, you are close now. You are right on the right track. Prakriti, can you just unmute and explain it to me what you are trying to say?
मैम
Because
लाइक वैलिडेशन में हम ये डाल सकते हैं कि जो भी डेटा हमने एंटर किया वो either it can be in the training set or it can be in the test set. Like if we enter a negative number in the data set, so we cannot use it for training purpose or testing purpose. It is not a valid data.
no, Prakriti. So this is not what we do in validation set. Sachin,
Oh,
can you elaborate? Prakriti, I will answer this question maybe in some time. Sach yes, Sachin, you are right. So what we do is instead of test using the test set only, what they do is uh, you have this classifier, you have already trained it, you first run it for on the validation set to validate the performance. If it does not perform on the validation set, then so again when validation set also, you hide the answers and see how it is performing. If it does not perform well on validation set, then you don't test for test set itself. Then you again go and tweak the classifier, make required changes, and then you test for validation set. Once you are satisfied on the validation set, then you show him the test set and show it the test set, and then you start testing. Now your question could be, what could be a logical question? Ask me a question. I want you to ask me a question now. There should be a question that could come to your mind. So I have again, let me you have divided the data in training set and in test set and validation set. So what happens is you have trained that classifier using the training set. Now you use the validation set to validate the performance of your classifier. If it was not performing well on the validation test set, then you did not show it the train set. In fact, but you went back to your algorithm and made changes to it, whatever was required. And once it was done, you repeated the process. After you were satisfied, then you showed it to the test set. So why do we need to do this? Thank you, Chirag, for asking the question. Okay, Sachin has also said something. Like we know the result and the result match, then our model will be right. We will see for accuracy in validation test too. Yes, you will see for accuracy performance in validation test too. But again, Chirag has asked the question, why, if we have a test set, then why do we have a validation set? We don't waste memory. No, it's not about wasting memory and time on inaccurate model. See, what is happening is uh, there is a problem called problem of overfitting. Let me give you an example. If I teach you in the class, I give you one numerical question, you solve it. Then I give you one more question, you solve it. If you make a mistake over there, I told you, okay, this is a probability question. Compute the probability of rolling a die and getting a number 6. So you solve this question. I gave you another question that, okay, compute the probability of rolling a fair die to get the output, the number 2. So you did this. Now one of you made a mistake and computed the wrong probability. So what I will tell you? I will tell you that okay, you have made a mistake, but this is not how we compute. You have to compute it like this, that okay, there are 6 events and there is one possibility. So that is 1 by 6. Now I train you for each and every possible number. So if every time somebody makes a mistake, I tell them how to correct it. So now they have completely learned how it performs on this data. So next time, if you will give him the number 4, it is going to give you the right answer. You are going, even if I repeat the question in the test, if you have, if you have been trained properly, I'm not talking about the people who have not been trained, but I'm assuming that if I train you guys well, and I've trained you with all these 6 possibilities, now if I give you a question, out of these questions only, you are going to give me a right answer. But what happens if I say probability that I roll 2 die and on one I get a 6 and on the other I get a 4. So it is using the question from this only, but now the question has been tweaked. So what happens? There is a chance that you might make a mistake there. Why? Because on already seen records, you are performing pretty well because you have been trained like that. But as soon as you see a new record, a new question, you do not answer well. So this is a problem of overfitting, that given some data, you have built a classifier, or you have trained the function such that it is going to fit and always give the correct answer to this data. But how it is going to perform on new data may not be so good. So what we do is, we do not while training, we will train it and it will perform well, and we will not show him the new set. We will ask him to validate on some other set. Okay, and if it doesn't perform, we will go on tweaking and do. But what happens in such a scenario is that the classifier adjusts to this set as well as to this set. Okay, it has already seen records, so it also becomes smart enough to give correct answers to both these sets. But we need to perform it well for, or generalize well for different situations. For any kind of situation, it should be able to give me a right answer. So we want it to generalize well. So what we are doing also is, we are behaving smartly. Okay, you train on all these sets, whatever you want to do, you understand and train all these sets. But once you start performing well, I am reserving some other records which will be completely new for you. They will be completely fresh for you, so that you are not overfitting. So once I am sure that okay, you have done everything right, then I am going to simulate a new fresh record from my test set and see how you do there. So if you do well on this also, that means you are trained properly and there is no overfitting, you are generalizing well. So in training set, we are just training the classifier. In validation, we are going to see if it is performing nicely or not, and we will reserve the test set, that is, they will be completely not seen, irrespective of number of iterations we have had to train this classifier, to ensure that there is enough generalizability for this classifier. Now ask me questions. So it's basically like me giving you n number of questions, then I am giving you n number of other questions during the class tests. मैं assignment में आपको कुछ questions दे रही हूँ, और आपको वो सारे questions, सबको मैं अलग अलग question दे रही हूँ. बट जब मैं आपका टेस्ट लेती हूँ, वो मेरा वैलिडेशन सेट है, टू सी कि आप एक्सटर्नल एग्जाम में बेटर परफॉर्म कर पाओगे या नहीं. तो जब आप मेरे वैलिडेशन सेट पे भी, उसमें भी मैं आपको डिफरेंट क्वेश्चंस देती हूँ, उसमें भी जब आप बेटर परफॉर्म कर पाओगे, तो आपको हम यूनिवर्सिटी एग्जाम में दे देंगे, विच आर कंप्लीटली अनसीन क्वेश्चंस फॉर यू. बट the idea of making you perform on my training as well as my validation test set is that you perform well in test set also, so that I am confident enough that when you graduate and you go to your masters or you go to the industry, then given any situation you will be able to solve that problem. Okay, so if you have a question, please ask me, because I'm stuck on 2 slides only. I have to move forward. So if you have a question, please ask. Okay, I am assuming you don't have a question. So I told you that we will be reading about decision trees. We will be studying rule-based networks, nearest neighbor, naive Bayes. This we will be studying. But if you go more into machine learning and artificial intelligence, then this is what is being used today. The deep neural networks, Bayesian belief networks, support vector machines are very, very popular these days. So if you had opted for, if you were being taught machine learning, then you would have been taught these topics also. Definitely neural networks, belief networks, and SVMs. And if you had a paper on deep learning, then you would be talking about deep networks like, convolution neural networks, and probably RNNs, and probably part of that LSTMs. So, but these are again, these everything is old. Now we are talking about transformers. So everything is machine learning. We are just going to read the basic of it in data mining. So let's start with the decision tree. As I told you, you can have different kind of attributes. Okay, no questions. You can have different kind of attributes, categorical or continuous, and you will have a target class. This is your target variable or target class or dependent variable, and these are your independent variables. Basically, on these, on some mathematical combination of these three variables, your output of this depends. Now my first task is to build a model using decision trees. There are various ways to build a classifier. We are learning now the way to build a classifier using decision trees. So what happens is, in a decision tree, you will pick up an attribute. How we pick up an attribute, we will talk about it later, but let's assume we pick one attribute. So is a person home owner? Yes or no. There are two possibilities. If a person is home owner, then you will see that for home owners, no home owner has ever defaulted to the loan. So we are saying that given a person is a homeowner, his class will always be yes. Now you will say, how can you be sure these are 10 records? So we will never have 10 records in our data set. We will have millions of records. We will have a lot of records to see. So if 90% or 99% of them have not defaulted, then we will say that if somebody is a homeowner, then he will not default on the loan. But if the person is not a homeowner, if the person is not a homeowner, then what happens? If a person is not a homeowner, then there are various possibilities. He could be a defaulter. Here, if you see that, if this person is not a homeowner, then he is a defaulter, and in some cases he is not a defaulter. So I am not very sure that whether to predict that okay, he will always be a defaulter or not. So maybe marital status, is not giving me a very good idea. There is a lot of confusion over here. So sorry. So when he's not a homeowner, there is not an easy way to predict what is happening. So let me pick another attribute. So let me go to the next attribute, which is marital status. Now, in case somebody is not a homeowner, but he is married, somebody who is married will not default on loan. Somebody who is married will not default on loan. Somebody who is married will not default on loan. Somebody who is married will not default on loan. Let's not include this one. Why? Because yes wala portion we have already covered on this side. So when I am seeing that somebody is not a homeowner but he is married, then he will not default on loan. This I am seeing from my data set. Abhi we are doing it manually, but we will use mathematics to some statistic functions to compute this. So if somebody is a homeowner, then he is definitely not going to default on loan. So his class is no. If somebody is not a homeowner, then I have no clear way of identifying. So I will pick some other attribute. And while picking some other attribute, at this point of time, I have taken the marital status. If somebody is not a homeowner but that person is married, then also he is never going to default on loan. So my category is this. But if somebody is not married, so maybe he is single or divorced, I really don't have a very clear cut way of telling you that what should be my answer. So if somebody who is not married, what they are doing is these are the things. You see, he was divorced, but somewhere it was yes, somewhere it was no. In case of single also, somewhere it is yes and somewhere it is no. So again, we don't have a clear cut way of telling that if somebody is not married, then what happens. So maybe we need some other way of telling this. So we go to annual income. So based on annual income, now if you study, if you will carefully read this, if the annual income is less, then the person is not defaulting on loan. And if somebody's income is greater than this, then the person is defaulting on loan. So we have built a decision tree based on attributes, on how much information. I talked to you about entropy in the last class. We will come to it. We will use that only. So we are saying that we are using the attributes as splitting criteria. If we have some clear-cut information, we label the leaf node with the classifier, that yes or no, or with the category. If we don't have a clear-cut information, then we use another attribute which can give us more information. And if it can give us more information, we will label the leaf node with the class. If we don't have enough information, we will bring in some other attribute as the node and then use it to get the classification. So if you have, let's say, 20 attributes, you might be using 20 of them to make a decision. Is this clear? Sachin, I think your comment was for the last topic, I guess. So I will not respond. Maybe we can come to this later. Decision trees, have you understood what happens? So we will be building these decision trees now. So we will have a way to identify which attribute to pick. It's not necessary that you will always, go in this order: first attribute, second attribute, third attribute. No, you are going to pick an attribute which can give you more information. And if you get more information and if you are able to classify based on that attribute, then why will you go for an attribute which is giving you less information? So we have to find a criteria on what attribute to pick to make this split. So to make it as a node and make this split. And if we are still not able to determine clearly, then maybe we will bring other attributes to make a split. Now if you have another question, so if now here what they did was, instead of homeowner they split on marital status. Then after marital status they split on homeowner and they split on income. Okay, then there is another thing. So they have applied the model. Okay, so if somebody is a homeowner, he is saying no, he is not a homeowner, so you go to this direction. This is just like your binary trees. Okay, so no. And if the marital status is married, then you go to no. If the marital status was here, then you would have evaluated based on income. But because the marital status was married, there, so you straightforward came to this result. This path was taken and answer was no. So this, this, this. Okay, clear? Is the question clear? Is this thing clear, how a decision is made? So what we are doing is that we have built, so what here has happened, we have built our classifier, this based on our training records. Now given a fresh record, how are you going to classify? Just pass this through the decision tree and see what path it takes. So suppose if I had marital status, homeowner as no, marital status as divorced, and income equals to 125k, then in that case what path would this have taken? No, divorced, and 125k. So in that scenario, we already have our classifier. This is a fresh record that I want to classify. So no, divorced, and this. So this means he's saying that yes, this person is a defaulted borrower, and this classifier or this model will predict yes. Okay? Is this okay? I hope this is clear. Now if you want to raise your hands.
मैम
Yes.
अगर मैम अगर हम लोग जैसे हर कोई बनाएगा तो अलग अलग डिसीजन ट्री बनाएगा,
Yes, yes, yes.
तो मैम
yes.
इसमें उनका जो डिसीजन ट्री होगा अगर उस पे हम प्रिडिक्ट करेंगे
हाँ.
और अगर वो गलत दे रहा है तो उसका मतलब हमारी डिसीजन ट्री में गलती है या फिर वो 100% एक्यूरेट होना चाहिए डिसीजन ट्री, ये पूछ रहा हूँ।
ओके मैं समझ गई। तो देखो हर्ष का क्वेश्चन देखो, अभी हमने दो डिसीजन ट्री बनाए हैं। पहला मैं एक बना दिया होम ओनर पे, मान लो मैंने बनाया होम ओनर से स्टार्ट किया और ये डिसीजन ट्री बनाया, एंड लेट्स अज्यूम हर्ष ने ये डिसीजन ट्री बनाया। सो वन क्वेश्चन, सो हिज क्वेश्चन इज दैट should it always be 100% accurate, and which decision tree am I going to choose, this homeowner wala ya marital status ki root wala? So where the root is homeowner, this previous one, or where the root is marital status. So Harsh, what we do is we in classification, like if you are working in industry or if you are working on any research problem, then we never build a single classifier. We will build different classifiers, 1 2 3 4. So we built, let's assume we built 4 classifiers and we will test them. Once we will test them, we will compare their performance. It is highly unlikely that a classifier can achieve 100% performance. But for us, we will have a benchmark that whether we want 75% accuracy, we want 80% of results to be correct. So it depends totally on the problem at hand, on or what is important for you. For example, कोरोना वायरस के लिए हमने कोई मॉडल बनाना है, ठीक है, एंड कोरोना वायरस के लिए आप इतने टाइम पे ये क्वारंटाइन और ये सारी प्रॉब्लम्स इसीलिए आ रही हैं बिकॉज पीपल आर एसिम्प्टोमेटिक. इट इज नॉट वेरी इजी टू डिटेक्ट, at least till 7 or 8 days we cannot detect that a person is carrying that virus. So if अब कोरोना वायरस की प्रॉब्लम एट हैंड इज डिटेक्टिंग वेदर द पर्सन हैज कोविड. नाउ व्हाट इज आवर टारगेट कि अगर कोविड नहीं भी है और तब भी अगर वो कोविड पॉजिटिव डिक्लेयर कर दिया जाता है तो कोई बात नहीं, एटलीस्ट ही विल बी क्वारंटाइन. बट इफ ही इज पॉजिटिव and I declared him negative, then it is problematic because he is going to spread the infection. So the problem at hand is to find the positive people, and even if I'm not very accurate in say if I inaccurately identify some negative people as positive people, then I am not really bothered because I'm just making them sit at home. But if I incorrectly classify a positive person as negative, then it is going to be a big problem for me. So it depends from problem to problem कि आपको किस पर्टिकुलर प्रॉब्लम को आप एड्रेस कर रहे हो और आपको कितनी एक्यूरेसी चाहिए उस प्रॉब्लम को. सो आइडेंटिफाइंग नेगेटिव क्लास, अगर ये हमें कम एक्यूरेसी दे रहा है बट पॉजिटिव में वो हमें ज्यादा एक्यूरेसी या बेटर परफॉर्मेंस दे रहा है, तो मैं वो वाला मॉडल पिक करने वाली हूँ. सो आई नो यू विल बी कंफ्यूज दैट ये कैसे हो सकता है, बट वो जब हम एक्यूरेसी कंप्यूट करेंगे या एक मॉडल की परफॉर्मेंस कंपेयर करेंगे, जब हम वो टॉपिक पढ़ेंगे तो आपके लिए थोड़ा सा इजियर हो जाएगा. My point as of now is that I will build different classifiers A, B, C, D. I will see what is my problem statement, and depending on my problem statement I will define कि यार मेरे लिए ना ये criteria है evaluate करने का. There will be some common criteria to evaluate. For example, in COVID-19 cases, my criteria is to always pay attention to the positive class more as compared to the negative class. At this point of time मेरे लिए ये criteria है. So whatever model is performing in better in giving me positive classes, let's say B was giving this performance, maybe A was giving me a good overall performance. A was giving me कि यार 80% time चाहे वो positive है या नेगेटिव है मैं सही रिजल्ट दे रहा हूँ, बट बी जो है ना पॉजिटिव केसेस ज्यादा बेटर तरीके से निकाल रहा था, तो मैं बी को पिक करने वाली हूँ. तो मेरे पास डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ मैट्रिक्स हैं इवैल्यूएट करने के लिए ए बी सी डी को, और उन मैट्रिक्स के बेसिस पे मैं पिक करूंगी मुझे कौन सा मॉडल चूज करना है. एंड एज यू आस्क कि 100% ही होनी चाहिए, हमारी हमेशा टारगेट रहता है दैट वी ट्राई टू इम्प्रूव आवर क्लासिफिकेशन परफॉर्मेंस, एंड ऑब्वियसली वो रिसर्च का एक वो है कि हम कितना परफॉर्मेंस इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं. सो इमेज रिकॉग्निशन में नंबर्स या इस टाइप की रिकॉग्निशन में अब आपके पास 96-97% एक्यूरेसी अचीव हो गई है. इफ यू टॉक अबाउट आइडेंटिफाइंग नंबर्स, or if you talk about identifying cats and dogs, so there are classifiers who have achieved the classification accuracy greater than 95%. बट अगर मैं स्पीच एनालिटिक्स की बात करूं, स्पीच की बात करूं, या मैं हिंदी में बोल रही हूँ और मेरी स्पीच को अगर आप इंग्लिश में ट्रांसलेट करके लिखना चाह रहे हो, सो इट्स समवेयर जितना मैंने पढ़ा है आई थिंक 65-70 के अराउंड है हम. सो ऑब्वियसली but still this is we are considering this to be good. तो अब obviously that is a research problem कि इसको हम और कितना बढ़ा सकते हैं. बट अगर मेरे पास कोई क्लासिफायर 10% परफॉर्मेंस दे रहा है, कोई 50 दे रहा है और कोई 65 दे रहा है, तो मैं ऑब्वियसली इसको पिक करने वाली हूँ. तो 100% स्टार्ट आप करते हो तो डोंट एक्सपेक्ट दैट यू विल गेट 100% रिजल्ट्स, बट देयर विल बी अ बेंचमार्क दैट यू वुड वांट कि इतना तो होना ही चाहिए, तो उसके लिए वी हैव मैट्रिक्स. हैव आई आंसर्ड योर क्वेश्चन हर्ष?
यस मैम.
ग्रेट. सो दिस इज अगेन द सेम क्वेश्चन जो हमने अभी कर लिया था. सो अगेन कमिंग बैक, आप ट्रेनिंग सेट लोगे, डिसीजन ट्री एल्गोरिथम से अपने क्लासिफायर को ट्रेन करोगे. सो यहाँ पे मैंने पहले क्लासिफायर लिखा हुआ था. Now I have written decision tree induction algorithm, and then based on induction you will build the model and you will learn this problem. You will try to create different decision trees and see which one is performing well. once you are through with this, then you will apply the model on your test set, and then probably you will deploy this model to classify previously unseen records. Okay, so decision tree is one way of doing it. Now there are various popular decision tree में भी बहुत सारे algorithms हैं. Hunt's algorithm, CART, ID3, C45, Sleek, Sprint. There are many algorithms. For our syllabus we will be doing this, but I recommend कि ये कभी टाइम मिले तो ये दो जरूर पढ़ना. ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग algorithms हैं, कभी टाइम मिले तो पढ़ना, but for the syllabus purpose we will be discussing this. Okay. तो हंट्स एल्गोरिथम क्या कहता है एक बार देख लेते हैं. लेट dt be the data set of training record. So this is my dt. This is a data set for all my training records. So this is dt my training set, not the test set, training set. And आप यहाँ पे नोड पे एट्रीब्यूट रखोगे जिसके बेसिस पे आपने क्लासिफिकेशन करनी है. अब अगर बाइनरी एट्रीब्यूट होगा तो नोड के दो स्प्लिट होंगे, you know, yes, no, 0, 1 and all that. But if it is it's not a binary attribute, it has multiple values, so then you will have multi-way splits, 3 splits, 4 splits. तो वो आपको देखना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, तो ये जरूरी नहीं है कि बाइनरी ट्री बने, it could be a multi-way tree also. So the procedure is, okay, target class is y. In this case, this is my target class y. And आप क्या चाहते हो कि जब आप डिसीजन ट्री बनाओ, जैसे हमने ये बनाया था, तो जो लीफ नोड्स हैं वो लेबल हो जाए टारगेट क्लास के वैल्यूज से. तो अगर बाइनरी ट्रीज है तो लीफ नोड पे या तो यस आ सकता है या नो आ सकता है. अगर आपने किसी की ग्रेड परफॉर्मेंस देनी है, यू नो, A, B, C, D, E, F, तो अगर आपने किसी का ग्रेड डिटरमिन करना है कि वो कौन से क्लास में पढ़ेगा, what will be the category or what will be the overall grade of the students, in that scenario this leaf nodes can contain any of these 6 values. Any of these 6 values it can contain. So जितनी भी टारगेट क्लास में कैटेगरीज होंगी उतनी कैटेगरीज आपके लीफ नोड्स पे, ये इंटरनल या रूट नोड पे नहीं, लीफ नोड्स पे वो वैल्यूज आ सकती हैं. So if decision tree contains records that belong to the same class yt, then t is a leaf node labeled as yt. मतलब decision tree में यहाँ पे जो attribute है, अगर वो सारे उस attribute में जो भी अगर वैल्यूज हैं उस पे सारे के सारे रिकॉर्ड्स सेम क्लास को बिलोंग करते हैं, तो सिंपल है, दैट मीन्स यू कैन लेबल. अब ये कैसे होगा दोबारा समझ लेते हैं. कहाँ गया हमारा वो एग्जाम्पल, हाँ यही वाला है ना. जब हम होम ओनर पे डिसाइड कर रहे थे, तो अगर कोई होम ओनर था, इफ somebody was a होम ओनर, तो आप अपने रिकॉर्ड्स में नोटिस करो, इफ somebody is a होम ओनर, yes, yes and yes. What is the target class? No, no and no. So this is what it is saying. If the decision tree for a particular value, if all the records belong to the same class y t, where t is that a particular category, then आप यहाँ पे उसको लेबल कर सकते हो with that particular class. So this is basically a stopping condition. और ये अगर आप रिकर्सिवली कॉल करोगे डिसीजन ट्री, जनरली आप ट्रीज रिकर्जन से बनाते हो ना, तो वो जो आपकी बेस कंडीशन होती है वो ये है, ये आपकी बेस कंडीशन है. अब नहीं क्लियर है तो पूछ लो. Okay, I am assuming this is clear. अगर नहीं clear है तो पूछ लो. Okay. If decision tree contains records that belong to more than one class. अब आप no में देखो, तो no में ना कभी no भी आ रहा है, कभी yes भी आ रहा है. Then use an attribute to split. तो basically क्या हुआ, आप रूट में स्टार्ट करोगे, रूट ओनर में किसी एट्रीब्यूट से स्टार्ट किया, अगर ये सब में यस नो इरिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ यस नो अगर सारे नो होते ना तो सीधा आप वहीं स्टॉप कर देते। लेकिन आपको लगा कि नहीं, आपने ये नोटिस किया कि नहीं, इस नोड पे जब मैं स्टार्ट कर रही हूँ तो कुछ नो है कुछ यस है, तो आपने क्या किया, एक एट्रीब्यूट लिया स्प्लिट करने के लिए। एट्रीब्यूट स्प्लिट कौन सा यूज पिक करेंगे, होम ओनर पहले करेंगे कि मैरिटल स्टेटस करेंगे, एनुअल इनकम करेंगे, वो हम बाद में डिसाइड करते हैं। लेट्स अज्यूम वी पिक्ड होम ओनर, तो वी विल स्प्लिट, सो वी स्प्लिट इट बेस्ड ऑन इट्स नंबर ऑफ वैल्यूज। तो अब जैसे अगर मैरिटल स्टेटस पे करते तो आपके 3 वे स्प्लिट हो सकता था, बट यहाँ पे येस और नो ही पॉसिबल है। अब आपने जब स्प्लिट किया, आप वापस से सेम चीज में वापस गए। अब आपकी जब होम ओनर यस है तो इट कंटेन्स ऑल द रिकॉर्ड्स with no, so label it as no. If home owner is no, then you see that okay, it belongs to more than one class. Yes, it belongs to either no or yes, so use an attribute to split. Let's assume it was marital status. Now if you use this attribute to split, now that split could be single, married and divorced, single, married, divorced, but आपने जो स्प्लिट किया है, जो हमने पिछले डिसीजन ट्री में किया है, वो सिर्फ हमने क्या किया, उसको बाइनरी स्प्लिट बना दिया, मैरिड एंड नॉट मैरिड, सिंगल और डिवोर्स्ड। सो वो डिसीजन भी जब आप एट्रीब्यूट्स की एंट्रोपी या कैसे एट्रीब्यूट पे कंप्यूट करना है वो कर सकते हो। तो इट कुड हैव बीन अ मल्टीपल स्प्लिट, it could be a binary split, belonging to one class and not belonging to that class but any other class for that matter. So how you are going to decide वो हम अभी पढ़ेंगे, but let's assume कि इस पे कर दिया। Again you will recursively apply, you will come back and see अच्छा इस नोड पे सारे सेम क्लास में हैं तो नो, अगर सेम पे हैं तो ठीक है, यस कर दो, नहीं तो फिर से इसको स्प्लिट मारो किसी और एट्रीब्यूट पे, एनुअल इनकम पे मार दिया। अब आपको थोड़ी क्लैरिटी मिल जाएगी and you will be able to decide. So this is how decision trees are made. Now you have a question, so please ask me. Okay, I'll have some water and give me 2 minutes. I'll have some water and come back. Till then you can read this algo. Okay, any questions? If you want me to explain it again, or you are clear with this? Okay, so Hunt's algorithm, I'm assuming you are clear. If there is a question, you will ask me. So, as you see, when we have talked about homeowner, when defaulted was no, out of 7 records, out of 7 records, when homeowner was yes, there were 3 records with 0, and 4 out of 3 records where when your homeowner was no, then defaulted 4 out of 4 records you had how many 1 4 ही है ना देखना जरा defaulted equals to no is when somebody is not a homeowner, this 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 and this 1 2 3 and 1 2. So what did I mean? Why I made a mistake? Yes, please. Have I made some mistake? एक्चुअली मेरे शायद लैपटॉप की आवाज़ खराब हो गई, सुनाई नहीं पड़ रहा मुझे कुछ।
वो चिराग ही धीरे बोलता है।
Okay. What was he saying? I didn't get it.
वही जाने मैम बहुत धीरे बोल रहा था।
मैम 9th वाला
I means 9th. Okay. So when defaulted is equal to no, how many records are there? There are 7 records, out of which when defaulted as no, there are only 3 records which have yes, and defaulted as no, you have 7 records. So you split it that ways, and then you see when the homeowner is yes, how many defaulted and how many did not. So here you have all the records belonging to the same class. So you can simply label it. That's what we have studied in the algorithm. Then after this, when you had marital status as married, then all the records were okay. Now see the criteria, because in married all the records, when somebody was married, all of them did not default. So that's why we have made a split binary, not this. So it's in single and divorced, they all defaulted. So after that, on base of, then you will in single and divorced they didn't default, I guess. In single and divorced there was a chance that they could default, but in case of married they never defaulted. In single and divorced, one of them did not default and others defaulted. So how to predict that? Predict that based on income. Again, then you will compute, on at what income are they defaulting and at what income they are not defaulting. So if had it been that, if their income was 100K and there was a common pattern that okay, they are defaulting at 100K, then you would have made the split on this. It could have been possible that somebody was between 60K to 70K they were defaulting, then between 70 to let's say 80 they were not defaulting, and then above that they were defaulting, like this. Then you would have a multi-way split. So this pattern or this number, this count, you have to check and decide the split. I hope this is pretty clear. We have discussed this in detail. If you have a question, just unmute and ask. So now to design a decision tree, there are key questions. One is how to specify the test condition. So that has to be determined by the attribute type, whether it is categorical or whether it is continuous. How are you going to test? For example, married, not married, or in this case homeowner or not homeowner, they are categorical attributes. So how you are going to split will depend on their type. But in case of annual income, you have continuous attributes. So to bring them to classes, you have to somehow discretize them. Then how to evaluate how good is the test condition? So whether to first split on homeowner or whether to first split on marital status, which is going to give me better results? Whether a split on homeowner is going to give me a better result, or first I should split on marital status, then maybe annual income, and then homeowner. What is going to give me a better result? That goodness you have to test. And then suppose it happens that here you have got the stopping criteria. Okay, it's very clear that these records are belonging to some classes, and you have been able to decide based on this condition, on these conditions. But it sometimes happens that there are outliers, and sometimes only one record belongs to one class. So then you will go on splitting. How are you going to stop then? When if what if there are hundreds of attributes? Are you going to build a decision tree on all of them? And if there are n number of values, here you had only 2 or 3 values, so split was easy. What if a class has, or 10 values? Are you going to create 10-way splits? So what should be the stopping criteria? How to stop the splitting? So obviously one simple way is stop when all records in a node belong to the same class. This is what we have done. Or you have to stop early where you have enough information. Obviously you will not be covering outliers, some mistakes can be made, but to make it good optimization or not computationally intensive, you might want to stop early. Now, how do you decide how to split? So it is determined by whether your attributes are binary, you will get 2-way split. If they are nominal, then the number of splits will be equal to number of classes. For example, if you have five categories, then you will have 5 splits. As in case of marital status, there were 3 categories, so there were 3 possible splits. Then whether the attribute is ordinal. So if you have low, medium and high, so let's assume that persons या small कर सकते हैं, persons with small and high height do not default. Let's assume they do not default, but with medium height they default. Now are you going to club small and tall people together and medium here? If you are going to do that, you notice you are changing the order of ordinal attributes, which is not allowed. So you cannot club these. Then you will have to have a 3-way split only. You cannot say that, okay, I am going to club these two together because uh, short people and tall people do not default. So you cannot club this because this was an ordinal attribute, so you cannot change the order. So you have to be careful about these things. What if the attribute like salary was continuous? How are you going to split? So for that you have to divide this continuous attribute in some intervals. Okay. For example, it has divided the salary in less than 80 and greater than 80. So here you have to divide them in some intervals and categorize them. So for example, salary from 60 to 70 goes in low income, then 670 to 80 goes in maybe average income, and 80 to 90 goes in above average income, and let's say this goes in very high income group. So I have divided this into intervals and I have categorized them. So how to discretize a continuous attribute, that is also important. Then how to split, whether it should be a two-way split or a multi-way split, whether you want it to be a binary split as we did in case of marital status, or are you going to use all the classes to split. All these things have to be determined, and there is no hard and fast rule, there is no thumb rule to do it. You will have to experiment with all these things, whichever is performing better. So in a research question, or when you are solving such problems in the industry, there is no thumb rule that always combining two categories, like in marital status combining these two will give you no. This is not this by see here there were 10 records, so we could see. But if there are millions of records, then you can, without calculating, without applying mathematical formula, you can never determine that it's that unmarried people may or may not default, but married people will never default. If you have billions of records, you are not going to manually scan them to decide on this node. So there is no thumb rule. Data is real, people are real, so you have to find patterns among them. So for that you have to try different ways, and whatever is performing well for your data set, that has to be chosen. Because वही सिंपल सा बेस केस है कि आप क्रेडिट कार्ड डिफॉल्टर्स एनालाइज कर रहे हो, तो दैट इज अ डिफरेंट प्रॉब्लम. अगर कोरोना कोविड पॉजिटिव केसेस एनालाइज कर रहे हो, तो दैट्स अ डिफरेंट प्रॉब्लम. If you are talking about whether a tumor is malignant or not, that is a different problem. So what works for your problem statement may not work for some other problem statement. So you will have to try different things. There is no thumb rule for this. So this is how multi-way splits are done. This is multi-way split. This is binary split. Combining these two. Here see, combining the categories is not a problem because there is no order. सिंगल मैरिड डिवोर्स में कोई ऑर्डर नहीं है, ऑर्डिनल नहीं होता है, तो इसलिए आप कैसे भी दो कैटेगरीज को क्लब कर सकते हो डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट योर डेटा सेट इज सेइंग. बट व्हाट अबाउट ऑर्डिनल एट्रीब्यूट्स? देखो ऑर्डिनल एट्रीब्यूट्स में यहाँ पे ये चार स्प्लिट हैं. स्मॉल मीडियम कंबाइन कर सकते हो क्योंकि ऑर्डर पॉसिबल है. लार्ज एक्सेल कर सकते हो. स्मॉल मीडियम लार्ज एक्स्ट्रा लार्ज कर सकते हो. बट ये वाली ग्रुपिंग नहीं कर सकते. Why? Because it is violating the order property. Now how to split the continuous attributes? Discretization to form an ordinal attribute. देखो 60 to 100 की सैलरी है, तो ऐसा नहीं होगा कि 60 to 70 एक ग्रुप बन जाए और उसके बाद इसी में आप 90 to 100 का भी ग्रुप बना लो. That this is one group and let's say 80 to 90 is another group. Why? Because अगर सीक्वेंस है तो कोई ऑर्डर फॉलो कर रहा है, तो इसीलिए आपको इसको कैटेगोरिकल एट्रीब्यूट्स में ब्रेक करना पड़ेगा, और ब्रेक करने के बाद उसको ऑर्डिनल बनाना पड़ेगा. इट विल बी एन ऑर्डिनल कैटेगोरिकल एट्रीब्यूट. इज दिस क्लियर why I am saying this? Okay, Chirag, you had a question that the tree I showed had club, single and divorce. Is that question, is that answer already you have got, or should I explain it once again? Type a yes or no. Okay, great. So I am assuming, so when you're having continuous attributes, you have to see that, because if it is a monotonically increasing thing, then you have to understand that it will be following some order. So that's why you have to split it in ordinal categorical attributes. अगर डेटा वाला चैप्टर पढ़ा है तो मैं क्या ऑर्डिनल क्या कैटेगोरिकल बोल रही हूँ वो समझ आ जाएगा. अगर नहीं पढ़ा है तो फिर डेफिनेटली मुश्किल होगी. So one way is to split them in equal intervals. Equal intervals means everything has a same size. 60 to 70 is 10k, 70 to 80 is another 10k, 80 to 90 is another 10k. So this is equal size interval, and other could be equal frequency intervals. So आपने क्या करना है, हिस्टोग्राम बना के देख लेना है, और हिस्टोग्राम बना के देखोगे तो 25 परसेंटाइल and let's say 50 percentile, 75 percentile and or the 100 percentile, उन इंटरवल्स में आप क्लब कर सकते हो डेटा. So then there is one way of discretization which is static, that is just before starting your algorithm you discretize your continuous attribute, and dynamic means that for every node you will try to discretize depending on the situation. So that is dynamic discretization. And in continuous attributes you can have a binary decision also. This अभी जैसे ये हमने multiple categories करी हैं, these are ordinal categorical attribute. You can have a binary decision just like we had in less than 80k and greater than 80k. So this was a binary decision. You can have categorical multiple categories, and you can have only 2 categories. So you will have to consider all possible slits and find the best cut. कि 80 वाला बेस्ट था कि 60 पे स्प्लिट करते तो बेस्ट था कि 100 पे स्प्लिट करेंगे तो बेस्ट था, बट ऑब्वियसली दिस कैन बी कंप्यूटेशनली इंटेंसिव आल्सो. सो फॉर एग्जांपल before splitting you had 10 records of class 0 and 10 records of class 1, तो वह टोटल 10 records जिसमें से 6 0 में थे, 4 इसमें थे, 9 के केस में 4 इसमें थे, 6 इसमें थे. अब इसमें से बेटर कौन सा है ये आपको टेस्ट करने के बाद ही पता चलेगा, बट यस दिस इज अ कंप्यूटेशनली इंटेंसिव अप्रोच. इज कस्टमर आईडी अ गुड वे टू स्प्लिट? अगर कस्टमर 1 है तो उसकी क्लास 0 है, कस्टमर 2 है तो उसकी क्लास 0 है. आपने बेसिकली 20 कस्टमर्स हैं तो 20 वे स्प्लिट कर दिया और उनकी क्लास इंडिविजुअली डिसाइड करी, बट इज इट गिविंग यू एनी इंफॉर्मेशन? इट्स नॉट अ गुड वे टू स्प्लिट. This probably could be, or this is a very good split. If you see 8 people belong to class, 8 records belong to class C0 when you have a sports car. When you have a luxury car, more people belong to class 7. When you have a family car, more records belong to class 3. So this is giving you good information. Here not so good information. You again will have to split. And here if you see, this is basically you are looking at each and every record individually. So imagine you have 100 million customer. अगर आप एयरटेल के डेटाबेस में स्कैन करोगे तो क्या आप मिलियंस ऑफ कस्टमर की क्लासेस इंडिविजुअली ऐसे डिसाइड करोगे? ऐसा नहीं हो पाएगा ना. So this is not a good way. Now the question is how to split. You always, this is what we're discussing in the last class also. Nodes with purer class distribution are preferred. This is pure. Why? Because 9 people belong to same class, so maybe this could be an outlier, but here I have a clear decision that okay, class is C0. So in a decision tree I can say that okay, if you have 9, so you can stop early also. So if greater than some threshold, that okay, if the number of records is greater than 7, then maybe you can categorize it to be a yes class. So we might not really worry about outlier over here, but this has low degree of impurity, or this is a pure split which is giving you a good clear decision. But here you have high degree of impurity which is not pure. So here you will again need more information. So maybe you will have to bring in some other attributes to split further to have a decision. So जैसे अभी ये हमारा जो ये वाला था होम ओनर वाला, तो होम ओनर में क्लियर स्प्लिट था. कम हमारे पास हमें ज्यादा स्प्लिट करने की जरूरत नहीं थी. अगर होम ओनर था तो सारी क्लास एक ही कैटेगरी को बिलोंग करती है. So this is a pure split. You have purity over here. So you will find an attribute which is purer, which is giving you less confusion. So you will find so a node that has low degree of impurity or is more pure is chosen for the split every time. तो कौन सा attribute pick करोगे? वो attribute pick करोगे जिसकी वजह से आपको low degree of impurity या pure मिल रही है classes. तो ये अब node impurity और entropy की कहानी हम कल करेंगे. कल मतलब I think Thursday को आपका टेस्ट है. पहले टेस्ट ले लेंगे, फिर हम इसकी कहानी करेंगे. And on so whenever we start this, please keep your pen and paper ready. Now if you have a question, please ask me. We will be talking about entropy in the next lecture. So first is, please understand that formula before you come to the class and keep your pen and paper ready so that we can practice also. Now if you have a question, please ask me. No questions? Either I am very good or you are very intelligent. कोई सवाल ही नहीं पूछता. Okay, then go. If you don't have questions, then please go. Let's meet on Thursday for a test. Ashwin, or if somebody is here. Ashwin, are you here? Yes, you are here. आप एक बार प्लीज क्लास में फिर भी इन्फॉर्म कर दोगे. आई हैव मेड एवरीवन जॉइन द क्लास, बट टेल देम दैट it is a very easy objective type quiz, so you have a good chance of scoring marks. तो सबको quiz attempt करनी है. बोल दोगे आप? Okay, now everyone you can leave. Okay.